So today we're gonna talk about a rapper who often gets forgotten, No Malice. You might know him as one half of the Clipse, a hip-hop duo from Virginia Beach. They worked very closely with Pharrell Williams, and while he did not make it big solo like Pusha T, without him, the Clipse would have not existed, and Pusha T might never have picked up the mic. No Clipse means no Young Money and Good Music Feud, which would have totally changed the hip-hop beef scene. No Malice was very instrumental in setting up the Clipse and played a massive role in getting Virginia on the hip-hop map. They killed it as a duo till they split around 2010 to try and go solo. After the split, Malice found his faith, converted to Christianity, dropped a couple of solo albums and a book, and chilled out of the spotlight. Then around 2019, the Clipse got back together. Today we're gonna dig deep into No Malice and the Clipse and see how much he really mattered to hip-hop. So let's get the party started.
What up guys, Ali here and welcome to Ali Talks Music. Add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music as well. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Now let's get into the video.
So, No Malice, real name Gene Elliott Thornton Jr., was born in the Bronx on August 18th, 1973. He's Pusha T's big brother, and they lived in New York until 1979. Then they moved to Virginia Beach when Malice was around 7 years old. Growing up, they had a third brother, and they all got a taste of the street life and the business, and this played a big role in their music and lyrics. No Malice and Pusha T eventually found out they can rap and also hustle on the streets. No Malice was first to dive into rap, trying to make it his thing. Back then, he was known as Malicious, and he dabbled in going solo and being part of a crew. But he later realized that lifestyle was not for him after spending time with a rap gang called DDP or Death Duo Productions and another crew named Jarvis that didn't really go anywhere. But hey, while figuring out his thing, Malicious ran into Pharrell Williams and Chad Hugo, aka the Neptunes, and they just clicked. Their music was fired together, and soon enough, Malicious was working with them almost exclusively. They made demo tapes together, and Pusha T, who always looked up to his big bro, would tag along. But one day, Pusha T got tired of just watching and decided to show Malicious and the Neptunes what he could do. In No Malice's own words, Pusha would always be in the studio with me, Pharrell, and Chad, and one day he was like, "Man, I'm going to write something." And I remember the first rhyme he ever wrote was just so crazy. He was a natural at it. I didn't teach him anything. He came with his own style from the door. No Malice was blown away by his little bro's talent and, pushed by Pharrell, decided to team up with Pusha T, who was first known as Terror. And just like that, the Clipse was born.
From ghetto to ghetto, the backyard to yard, I sell it whip on whip.
But this was way back around 1992, and the duo was not together for very long, before No Malice felt like he had to join the army to help out his family. So, Clipse was put on hold, and No Malice served in the army for a couple of years until he came back around 1994, ready to give rap another shot. He teamed up with Pusha T once again, changed his name from Malicious to Malice, ready to rock with Pharrell and Hugo. With Pharrell's help, the brothers signed a recording contract with Elektra in '96, and the Neptunes got to work on the Clipse's debut album. The album, exclusive audio footage, was completely produced by the Neptunes and featured artists like Khalees, Corrupt, Noriega, and even Pharrell popped up about 5 times. It was set to drop around April of '99, led by the single The Funeral. The single did spark some interest, but it was a commercial bust and did not chart at all.
Take a walk on my side, no more tears, no more fears, no one telling me lies.
Because of that, Elektra put exclusive audio footage on the shelf and cut ties with the Clipse. After that, the Clipse was back to square one. So, the Clipse was kind of floating around without a label, but they kept grinding with the Neptunes. No Malice even popped up on a couple of songs without Pusha T, like Any RD's Am I High and Khalees' Daddy around 2001.
I can't help it, I do love the boy.
But thankfully, their floaty phase did not last very long. Pharrell, who has been tied with No Malice forever, signed the duo to Arista Records through his fresh imprint, Star Trek Entertainment, around 2001. Fired up with a new deal, the Clipse got to work on their second shot at a debut album. This time, everything clicked, and they dropped Lord Willin around August of 2002. The Neptunes were behind the board again, and the album was a hit with the critics. Packed with stories of their drug-dealing days, it was praised for the lyrics, the humor, and their solid performances. It topped the R&B hip-hop charts and hit number 4 in the Billboard 200, selling a solid 122,000 copies in the first week.
Players, we ain't the same. I'm in the cane and gun. Show par with the fishes, make the facelift numb.
About a month later, it went gold, and it kept selling, eventually hitting 960,000 copies in 2009. Even though sales were not sky high, Lord Willin was a classic for Long Beach hip-hop and put the Clipse on the map. And the album dropped 3 singles, starting with Grinding around May 2002. It did pretty well, hitting number 30 on the Hot 100. The next single was When the Last Time featuring Khalees and Pharrell, and this one did even better. The last single, My I Don't Love Her with Faith Evans, did not quite blow up.
When the last time you heard it like this? Smoke some, drink some, get ripped.
Despite this, the Clipse kept making waves around 2002, popping up on Justin Timberlake's platinum hit, Like I Love You.
Ma, what you wanna do? I'm in front of you. Grab a friend, see, I can have fun with you.
And Baby's banger, What Happened to That Boy. Interestingly, Lil Tunechi's in the video for that one, even though the Clipse and Weezy would start a beef a few years later.
What happened to that boy? What happened to that boy?
The Clipse featured on a ton of other tracks, but we can't list them all because you'd probably get bored. So, in this story, we're all about No Malice and the major Clipse moments. Pusha T is a whole another tale. By 2003, the Clipse was a big deal. They went on tour with 50 Cent, and when they got back, they kept the hits coming. They dropped Hot Damn with Pharrell, the lead single for the Neptunes' album, Clones. They also featured on E40's quarterbacking, and began working on their second album, Hell Hath No Fury. But sometimes things out of your control can knock you down, and that's exactly what happened around 2004. Eventually, Clipse's second album hit a major speed bump when Sony Music Entertainment and BMG merged. As a result, all the artists at Arista Records got shifted over to its sister label, Jive Records. The problem was, while Star Trek and the rest of its crew got to roll over to Interscope Records, the Clipse got left hanging at Jive Records because of their contract. That's when things went south. No Malice and Pusha T did get back to working on their album, but Jive stopped pushing them and began focusing on their pop acts. So, the album kept getting delayed. At one point, Jive even wanted to drop the album completely. Eventually, the Clipse got fed up and tried to get Jive to let them bounce over to Interscope like Star Trek, but when Jive would not let them out of their 4-album contract, they hit them with a lawsuit. The whole mess dragged on for 4 years. So, from around 2002 to 2006, the Clipse was in limbo. But they did not just sit around. They began dropping some killer mixtapes called We Got It For Cheap under the collective name, The Re-Up Gang. They released these through their own imprint, Re-Up Gang Records. The first volume dropped around 2004, and the second, The Black Card Era, hit in around 2005.
Yo, like, what y'all mean when y'all be saying it's the Black Card Era and y'all the Black Cards and...
While fans loved both, it was volume 2 that got crazy good reviews and became one of their best mixtapes of the 2000s. Finally, around 2006, Clipse and Jive made a deal. Clipse could drop their album through their own Re-Up Records, but Jive would handle distribution.
And I'm sorry to the fans, but them won't play a fair job.
But Hell Hath No Fury still got delayed until November of 2006. The wait was worth it though. The album got awesome reviews and received a perfect score from Double XL. Sales were not great. It hit number 14 on the Billboard 200, and only sold about 80,000 copies in the first week. By December, it only sold about 205,000 copies, way less than their debuts. The album had 2 singles, Mr. Me Too with Pharrell, and Wamp Wamp, What It Do with Slim Thug.
I know, yep, yeah, you too. Okay, we get it, yep, yeah, you too.
But neither blew up. Sadly, too much time had passed between the Clipse's first and second albums, and they just did not have the hype they needed. But their true fans stuck by them through it all, buying their mixtapes and giving Jive a hard time. In their own words, "We were gone for 4 years, and the fans were what kept us alive, kept lighting the fire to Jive's ass, lighting the fire to Pharrell's ass, lighting the fire to everywhere. Like, what's up with the Clipse? If we didn't have that, we wouldn't have a leg to stand on." So while the Clipse was at war with Jive, they also began a very public beef. And who did they pick a fight with? None other than Lil Wayne. This all kicked off in April of 2006 when Wayne showed up on the cover of Vibe magazine sporting a pink bathing ape hoodie. Why was this a big deal? Because until then, the bathing ape look was pretty much a signature style for the Clipse and Pharrell Williams. Instead of being flattered that Wayne was copying their style, the Clipse got mad. They even dropped a single around 2006 called Mr. Me Too, calling out posers and copycats.
Okay, everybody meet Mr. Me Too. I know, yep, yeah, you too.
Sure, they recorded the song around 2004, so it wasn't specifically about Wayne, but the video had wannabes wearing Bape outfits, so the subtext was pretty clear. He'd been spotted wearing Pharrell's Billionaire Boys Club brand in his Hustler music video.
You know, Joe,
never touch us. Let them know.
The shy VA.
Never touch us.
I just want to know, from me to y'all, we hear another nigga in his rhymes, he and all that. Y'all the first niggas to do that.
Oh,
you know
that's
what
a
I'm saying?
Pusha thing.
You know, Lil
day.
Wayne, you know, as you jacking niggas swagger up. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
I'm asking y'all, I buy shit, I listen to shit. This the rap world.
Okay.
Do niggas feel like, you know what I'm saying, man, jacking y'all shit or what?
Yo, I hear it. Like I hear shit like that in the streets all the time, man. But you know, one thing we don't get into is the whole rapper thing, cause I know where I'm from. I don't know where everybody else from. I know what I do, and I know what I'm into, and I just know what I'm into.
After being denied some gear from the brand, Wayne did not stay quiet though. He hit back around December of 2006 in the issue of Complex magazine. When he was asked about the Mr. Me Too video, he said the following: "I thought the whole Mr. Me Too video was about me, to tell you the damn truth. They think I wanna be like them. I'm on $1 million bus going around the world, charging people from $50,000 to $150,000 for verses. And I got 77 songs in magazines, and I got 1 billion more. Do the math. You think I'm trying to be like you? No, sir. They had to do a song with us to get hot, B. What happened to that boy? Come on, B."
So that song comes out, and Lil Wayne thought that song was a diss record towards him.
Did he really? I mean, did he think that? I really don't know the story of, you know, where things had went so bad with all of that. I don't know how it came about. If you were to ask me what the problem with us in between Lil Wayne, I probably would have told you. I think that somebody said something about his fashion resembling us. Something that we never said or anything. But I can tell you unequivocally, Mr. Me Too was not about Lil Wayne.
So, after Wayne spoke out, the beef was totally out in the open. But the funny thing is, No Malice didn't really seem to want to keep it going. In a chat he had in February of 2007, he said that the whole feud had been blown way out of proportion by the media. He was pretty laid back about the whole situation and said he had made peace with the whole thing. In his own words, "Honestly, the media built up that whole beef. That's why I'm not going to partake in that because I saw it coming. It started with one interview that said, 'I heard that Clipse have a problem with you, and they feel like you bit their style.' When we read that, we laughed, because we would never in a million years say that. Now, the streets were definitely saying that, and I didn't pay attention until I heard all the hoopla from the streets. Like, Lil Wayne bit y'all style. He's talking about coke, and he's rocking Bape. I'm not one to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. I have no beef with Lil Wayne. We were just with Baby, getting money together on what happened to that boy. Then all of a sudden, the talk is building. Later in the interview, he shut down all possibility of a beef entirely by pointing out that he did not really know Wayne. In his own words, "To be honest, I don't know Lil Wayne. So how genuine can a beef be? He doesn't know me, and I don't know him. All we know is from TV and interviews and all of that. I am not going to let anyone say anything about me, Virginia, the Clipse, Pharrell. Period. But I'm not going to fool myself into thinking that I have a sincere beef with this man that I don't know. I'm not sitting at home, walking around like I'm beefing with Lil Wayne. I'm not thinking about Lil Wayne, and that's the honest truth." But while Malice had no intention of beefing, the same could not be said for Pusha. In interviews around the same time, Pusha was playing Wayne down at every opportunity and clowning him for kissing Baby. In Pusha's own words, "Wayne, you sort of copying the Clipse right now. I think he made a bad judgment call and just decided to take a swipe at us. Maybe he's got an album coming out. This is a small thing to a giant. He's just acting out. If anything, I am upset about him using the F word before my name, being as though he likes to sit around and kiss men. If you're gonna kiss men, you can't even use them words in conjunction with the Clipse, Pharrell, or any of the Star Trek family." So, for the rest of 2007, Pusha and Wayne kept dissing each other in interviews. No Malice always had his brother's back, slowly getting more and more involved into the beef. Around 2007, they both had an interview where they both went in on Wayne. It was epic. No Malice said the following: "If you wobble D, you can't be a legend." Then Pusha said the following: "You can't kiss other men. You can't wobble D, and you can't bite styles. You can't bite everybody's styles. You can't try to rap like Jay-Z, dress like the Clipse, become a coke dealer after 5 albums, and now dress like Jim Jones. You can't do all that and be a legend. You have to be a trendsetter, and he ain't setting any trends." Now, this makes me think about an interview that Jim Jones did recently. In the interview, Jim Jones said that nobody was trying to be like Pusha T. However, if you look at the hip-hop climate today, it's clear that several rappers are still trying to be like Wayne. So the question is, was Pusha T a trendsetter, or does Wayne
Pusha T?
Easily.
Bro, you go in these clubs, I don't know no records they play in the club with or Pusha T. They don't play outside.
Meanwhile, while all this beef was cooking, the Clipse were also trying to get back on their feet after Jive gave them the boot. When they got released by Jive, which they made public around 2007, they quickly began talking to other labels. They finally landed a 5-year deal with Columbia, and the deal was sweet. They would get distribution through the label and would share profits 50-50. Plus, the Clipse would own the masters for Re-Up Gang. The deal also promised a Re-Up album and a new studio disc for the next year. But for the first time, the Clipse was ready to step down away from the Neptunes as their only producers. They were looking at working with Timbaland, Dunja Hands, and Dame Grease. So, for the rest of 2007, the Clipse was all about Re-Up Gang and making a name for them. Their third album took a back seat while they put together their next 2 projects as a crew. During this time, No Malice also hooked up with Drake on the Do What You Do remix on his comeback season mixtape. Now, this was before Drake signed with Wayne and got pulled into this whole beef. But speaking of beef, let's get back to that. Fast forward to around 2008, the Re-Up Gang dropped 3 projects that year. The We Got It For Cheap Volume 3 mixtape, The Saga Continues, their official mixtape, and their album Clipse Presents Re-Up Gang.
What you think about? Throw them G's up, show your watch off, roll your sleeve up.
The beef with Lil Wayne got its next serving on We Got It For Cheap Volume 3, The Spirit of Competition. In the intro track, Pusha threw some serious shade at Baby. Sorry, but I don't respect who you applauding. Lil flow, but his metaphor's boring. Don't make me turn daddy's little girl to an orphan, and that mean I'd have to kill Baby like abortion.
sorry, but I don't respect who you applauding. Little nigga flow, but his metaphor's boring. Don't make me turn daddy's little girl to orphan. That would mean I'd have to kill baby like abortion.
So by this time, Lil Wayne was neck deep in legal troubles and trying to dodge jail. He didn't have time to deal with this beef, so it kinda went on the back burner while he dealt with his legal troubles. By 2009, Wayne had pled guilty and knew he was gonna do time. This beef would not come up again until after Tunchi got out around 2010. Looking back, it's clear Pusha was really stirring the pot in this beef, which kinda makes sense when you see how it later became a Pusha versus Drake thing. But at this point, Clipse was winning the war of words. But elsewhere in their career, things weren't so rosy. Clipse dropped their third and last album around 2009 and it barely made a splash. The album was praised by critics, but on the sales front it was a big disappointment, selling just 62,000 copies in its first month.
Hey yo, I'm sitting on top of it. It's more than a feeling, ain't it? I be damn it, I'm illin',
The album hit number 46 on the Billboard 200, while spawning 4 singles. After this, No Malice and Pusha T announced that they were no longer with Columbia Records and said they'd be dropping solo albums later in the year. They tried to spin it as them exploring solo careers while still keeping the group going, but in the end, they pretty much split up. Pusha signed with Kanye West's Good Music and even tried to make peace with Wayne on his 2011 track, Open Your Eyes.
They the free weekly. Congratulations, my nigga.
He confirmed that around 2011 in March that they had a face-to-face and made peace. But the beef flared up once again, especially when Drake dissed Pusha T later that year. Meanwhile, No Malice kinda stepped back from the limelight and got more introspective. He'd always been the more spiritual rapper of the two, but he really dove into it now. He converted to Christianity and wrote his memoir, Wretched, Pitiful, Poor, Blind and Naked. It covered his religious awakening and his fears of getting HIV, as well as giving a raw look at the music business, his sex life, and his family.
And the whole time while we're sitting talking, I'm like, these guys don't even know I'm not even gonna be here. Like, I finished the conversation, but I'm on my way out. You know what I'm saying? So after we had the meeting, we went back and, my brother and I, we're in the, we're in the elevator. And I just told him, I was like, I'm really finished with this, man. And this is not, what I choose to do. And I'm like, we finished the our last album. This was like a perfect breaking point. The timing couldn't have been any more great. So I let him know that, I'm not doing this anymore.
Around March of 2012, he changed his name from Malice to No Malice, saying he wanted to spread a positive message, a Christian message. He dropped a video to announce the change, featuring himself looking at his own body in a casket and walking away. Around 2012, No Malice hooked up with Lecrae on the track Darkest Hour. He also dropped 3 singles from his debut album, June with Eric David, Unforgettable, and Smoke and Mirrors, though none of them charted.
It's of a biblical proportion. What you are witnessing, spiritual abortion.
He dropped his debut album, Hear Ya Him, around August of 2013 on a boutique label called Re-Envision. According to critics, the album was good. It was positive. However, the production was lacking, according to them. Around this time, No Malice featured in a track called Soldier, and around 2014, there were rumors that the Clipse was about to get back together. In his own words, people have been asking me about this Clipse album. I've been very clear and very consistent from the beginning. I don't know why I have to keep answering this question. I don't do that music anymore. Do people want me to keep repeating my past life? What I would like to think is my audience who grew up with me are still growing up. I can't cater to every generation that comes up under. It's like repeating 3rd grade over and over again. No, I'm somewhere else now. I'm not doing another Clipse album. Around 2016, No Malice dropped a documentary called The End of Malice, which spilled the beans on why Clipse broke up.
I remember being young.
Around the same time, he was messing with fans' emotions by flip-flopping on whether the Clipse reunion would happen. He went from no way around 2014 to never say never around 2016. In his own words, I've learned to never say never, and I don't close the door on anything. In fact, I'd love to see the Clipse back together. I've said it before, my brother and I would totally own all these other rappers. That much I know. By 2017, No Malice was ready to drop his second solo album. He appeared on Static Selecta's Pull the Curtain Back and released Let the Dead Bury the Dead in August. The album didn't really make any waves, but it did include the track Fake News, where No Malice trashed his earlier work.
Y'all should have been there when I told him to keep that little deal money. Look upon their face was like, is he for real?
Around 2018, he dropped the single Give 'Em Game, and around 2019, he hooked up with Eric Sermon on the track Go. 2019 also saw a mini Clipse reunion on the Kanye West track Use This Gospel.
Use this gospel for protection.
Since then, No Malice has been kinda quiet. The Clipse appeared on the 2022 track Punch Bowl from Japanese DJ Nigo's album, and No Malice featured on his brother's track I Pray For You. Now I wouldn't say No Malice fell off, more like he decided to live a life more in line with his beliefs. He still got the skills and occasionally makes music, but mostly keeps to himself. He's still active in the music scene and drops new stuff from time to time. But most of his Instagram is about working out, his daughter, and his 2 dogs. On Spotify, he has almost 88,000 monthly listeners, and his most listened to songs are I Pray For You, Go, Daddy, Shame the Devil, and Jesus Christ. That's it for me, it's your boy Ali. What happened to No Malice in your opinion? Let me know down below. Also, I apologize for the way the audio sounds. I had the flu, you know, I'm human. Also add me on Instagram at Ali Talks Music. Till next time, peace.